At age 21, he carried ships over land. The year was 1453. History would record it as the turning point that closed an era and opened a new one. Constantinople, the heart of Byzantium. In the shadow of walls said to be impenetrable for centuries, an empire was taking its last breath. The people placed their hope in holy relics and icons they believed protected the city. On the other side, the 21-year-old seventh Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, Mehmed II, was dreaming of a plan that would change the course of history. Under his command stood technologies far ahead of their time. Colossal cannons the world had never seen, tunnels dug beneath the walls, and a brilliant tactic that would move an entire navy over land. This is the story of the great siege that changed the fate of the world of strategic genius, technological innovation, and the power of human will to achieve what was once considered impossible. Constantinople, the dream of empires for centuries, by the mid-1400s, the city's population had dwindled to 60 to 70,000. But the walls, those legendary walls, still stood tall. Rumors filled the streets, mixing fear and hope. Beliefs that an army entering through the Golden Gate can never be defeated. Prophecies that the fall of the city would signal the end of times. Lights reportedly seen in Hagia Sophia. Chronicles would later describe all this as signs from God. When it became clear that the newly crowned, ambitious young Sultan, Mehmed II, intended to take the city, Byzantine Emperor Constantine XI appealed for aid from Venice, Genoa, the papacy. Yet due to political clashes and religious divisions, the help that arrived was mostly symbolic. The city's fate rested on its massive walls and a chain stretching across the entrance to the Golden Horn. This barrier, forged from massive iron links thick enough for a person to walk across, was anchored to fortified towers on both shores. Its sole purpose was to prevent the Ottoman fleet from entering the Golden Horn, where the city's weakest wall stood. Breaking through it seemed nearly impossible. Mehmed II, though young, possessed a visionary mind. Taking Constantinople was not merely a conquest, it was the foundation of a new world empire. The first step was constructing Rumeli Fortress. Built at the narrowest point of the Bosphorus, it formed a pincer with Anadolu Fortress across the strait, cutting off all aid from the Black Sea. Rumors spread among the public that the fortress was built so quickly it must have been done with the help of demons. One of the most striking preparations was the forging of giant cannons. Driven by Mehmed II's vision and investment in technology, the Ottomans produced some of the largest cannons in history. The Hungarian master Urban crafted them, about 5.5 meters long, with a barrel diameter of 91.8 centimeters, weighing around 18 tons. The stone cannonballs weighed between 544 and 680 kilograms, carved from extremely dense stone, such as granite or basalt. Transporting these monsters from the foundry in Edirne to the siege lines was itself a feat of engineering. Nearly 30 wagons and 140 oxen were assigned to the task, and the route was carefully prepared. Thus stood two worlds, a city clinging to miracles and fate, and a young ruler preparing to rewrite destiny through engineering, strategy, and unshakable resolve. The stage was set. The great siege was about to begin. Spring of 1453. Under the shadow of the city walls, history entered a decisive moment. The Ottoman army took its positions, cannons were placed, and soldiers made their final preparations. With the first cannon fire, the walls in Byzantine morale began to crack. The thunderous roar of the giant Shahi cannons shattered stone blocks into fragments. The sound was so terrifying that Byzantine soldiers threw themselves to the ground, and civilians feared leaving their homes. Archers and catapults on the walls tried to respond, but they were helpless against the firepower. Within days, cracks appeared, and small portions of the walls began to collapse. Mehmed II used this physical and psychological pressure expertly. He intentionally spread rumors of prophecies predicting the city's fall. while the disciplined, imposing Ottoman army further demoralized the defenders. With every strike, the Ottomans tightened their grip, wearing down Byzantine resistance. This was not just a battle, it was psychological warfare. As days passed, defenses weakened and panic grew. Holy icons and relics no longer provided comfort. Each blast signaled a shifting fate, proof of Ottoman determination and the strategic brilliance of the young Sultan. A new chapter had begun. The siege had evolved into a drama shaping the city's soul and future. The siege of Constantinople was fought not only on the walls, but deep beneath the ground. Mehmed II knew traditional methods would not be enough. He activated his other plans. The Ottoman sappers were skilled miners, often from Serbia, under the orders of Zaganos Pasha. They dug tunnels to collapse the wall foundations with explosives or infiltrate the city. In the narrow torch-lit chambers, they advanced inch by inch, opposing them were Byzantine sappers led by German engineer Johannes Grant. Grant detected Ottoman tunnels and dug counter-tunnels, destroying them with fire or bombs. Underground hammer strikes echoed like heartbeats, an invisible but critical battle, yet neither side gained the upper hand. May 1453, the Golden Horn was still blocked by the giant chain, and the northern walls held firm. Mehmed II knew certain parts of the defenses were weaker. Instead of clinging to conventional methods, he unveiled a groundbreaking tactic. He ordered his fleet to be carried over land. Around 70 Ottoman galleys were hauled from the Bosphorus up the hills of Tufan and down into Kasimpasa using greased pine logs. Thousands of soldiers and workers labored to guide the ships. The sound of straining ropes and groaning timber filled the hills. When Byzantines saw ships descending from the hills into the Golden Horn, confusion turned into terror. It felt as if nature itself had betrayed them. Once the fleet reached the Golden Horn, the Ottomans gained a decisive advantage. The city was now encircled from north and sea. This was not only a technological and logistical triumph, it was psychological warfare at its finest. Late May, the siege reached its climax. Cannons had opened breaches in the walls. The fleet controlled the Golden Horn, and Ottoman lines tightened. Only one decisive strike remained. On the night of May 28th, leading into May 29th, the Ottomans prepared for their final assault. Thousands of torches illuminated the walls, and the Metter band thundered across the battlefield. Mehmed II gave his final command: either I take Byzantium, or Byzantium takes me. Wave after wave of soldiers attacked through the breaches. Weeks of bombardment had exhausted the defenders. Mehmed did not lead from afar. He rode to the most dangerous positions to raise morale. The Byzantines fought fiercely, but the combination of shattered walls and the Ottoman fleet's pressure made resistance impossible. Constantine XI refused to abandon his city. Removing his imperial insignia, he fought among his soldiers as a common warrior. He died in battle, marking the end of a 1,000-year empire. When Ottoman forces entered through the Topkapi area, Byzantium fell, its final emperor gone. Mehmed II's strategic brilliance was now undeniable. Istanbul became the new Ottoman capital, a rising center of global power. The conquest was not only a military victory, but a milestone of strategy, engineering, and determination. May 29, 1453, Istanbul now belonged to the Ottomans. The conquest marked the beginning of a profound transformation socially, culturally, and architecturally. Hagia Sophia was converted into a mosque, symbolizing the victory. Byzantine structures were preserved and repurposed. To repopulate the city, Mehmed II ordered families, Muslim and non-Muslim, from Anatolia and Rumelia to resettle in the city. Mehmed II's policies were both visionary and pragmatic. While some Byzantines fled, many remained. Addressing the crowd gathered in Hagia Sophia, Mehmed declared, "You are safe. Your religion, your life, your property, and your honor are under my protection." He reinstated the Orthodox Patriarchate, ensuring religious continuity. His aim was to make Istanbul an imperial capital for people of all faiths. Yet his greatest ambition was to turn the city into a center of knowledge and civilization. Scholars, artists, and thinkers were invited. Madrases and public buildings were constructed. Mehmed himself, fluent in Arabic, Persian, and Latin, ruled not only with military genius, but with intellectual depth. The conquest was not merely of walls, but of hearts and minds. It was the first step in building a new civilization. The conquest of Istanbul stands as one of world history's defining moments. The fall of the walls, the roar of giant cannons, the ships carried over land, and the relentless strategies displayed the extraordinary genius of young Mehmed II. Was this merely a military triumph, or the beginning of a new global order shaped by the mind of a visionary? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's explore this monumental moment in history together.